I would like to call the Monday, August 19th, 2024 Board of Education meeting to order at 7:11. Can we all stand for the pledge, please? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Mr. Scarinzi, would you be kind enough to read the mission statement?
Be honored. The Orange Elementary School District recognizes that the education of each child is the shared responsibility of every member of our community. Our goal is to inspire and empower each student to achieve academic excellence, embrace social and individual responsibility, and lead with integrity. We believe all individuals should be valued and treated with respect. Together, we will make a difference.
Thank you very much. Any public participation? No? Very good. Consent agenda. I am looking for a motion to accept the first item under the consent agenda. The first item is the minutes from the June 17th, 2024 Board of Education meeting. Do I have a motion to accept the minutes from the June 17th, 2024 Board of Education meeting? Susan, second. Mr. Ziman? Any discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Abstain? Who's taking notes over there? Okay. We'll move on right to the superintendent's report. Dr. Scarpetti.
Thank you, Mr. Crow, and good evening, board members and everyone watching at home. I'd like to welcome all of you back for the 2024-25 academic school year. I have to say there's excitement. I spoke with a few board members of what things have been going on during the summer, but you know, since I've been here, they always say the Fireman's Carnival is the sign that summer is over, and it certainly is over, and we're ready to begin. Other things that have been occurring that are signed are the Parent-Student Handbook were sent out this past Friday, along with students who received notice of who their teachers are going to be for this year. Our new teacher orientation is tomorrow, and convocation is this Wednesday. All of you know, I think, are welcome. Please let myself or Darlene know if you like to attend. It's going to be a version that's going to be a little bit tighter than usual, in a sense that we want to make sure that we bring everyone together. An odd thing occurred during COVID is that we had to go to individual schools, and we received some feedback that it was great to have myself and a few other people join me to go to individual schools because they got right back to their classrooms. On the other hand, we like to get together as a community and honor our staff who've years of service. So it's going to be more succinct what we've typically have done, but please, if you're able to join us, your presence is more than welcome, and I know the staff appreciates that. On the same day, we have our bus driver breakfast that happens at the Amity High School. And it goes without saying, staff have been very busy getting their classroom ready, and it's just been extremely busy. We've also have been busy as board members, specifically the negotiating committee. As you'll see on the agenda, we are going to executive session to talk about 2 groups, but we've actually been negotiating with 4. Hopefully next week we'll have a tentative agreement with 1 bargaining unit, and we'll be started negotiating with teachers this September. Not only has the negotiating committee been busy, but the district curriculum work continues to be busy with ELA, social studies and writing, which Dr. Russo will update the board in a moment. In addition, custodians, I want to extend my gratitude to the custodians and the maintenance team, along with the highway department. They've made the schools ready to shine, and if you have driven by, hopefully you've noticed that. They actually look very stunning, and we welcome everyone back. We look forward to that. In addition to what's been busy with the summer, just as a reminder, there's 2 things that we've submitted to the state. It's our IED plan, which is our diversity plan with hiring. We have not heard back from the state with regards to any feedback. And our teacher evaluation plan has been submitted to the state, and we have not heard back from them as of yet. Next month, I plan for the teacher evaluation plan to be submitted. You actually have a copy of that in your last board update, if you'd like to look at it prior to that. but we're going to proceed, and we will take the state's feedback when we receive it. As you also know, we've received many of grants this past 2 years. Mr. Gray in a moment will be speaking about those grants as we've done in past meetings, but I think it's very important to know that many of them are ending, and again, we use the term of sunsetting. So for example, the grants that we received the past 2 years with, let's say, the summer camp, that has expired. That was at no cost to our parents, with the exception if they kept their children afterwards. There was a cost where I want to extend my gratitude to the 21st Century staff for helping us out with regards to that. But please pay attention to that, because it's very important that we make sure that we're aware. Another example, again, I think Mrs. Ito is going to mention this, is our social worker. You may recall that it's a 3-year grant. The first 2 years are 100%, the third year is 70%, and then it's incumbent on us to pay for that. So just please keep in mind with regards to that when Mr. Gray and Mrs. Ito goes over that. Let's see what else I have here. Oh, and lastly, I would just like to end with regards to transportation I talked about, and again, that's one of the groups that we negotiated with. This Wednesday, the routes will be shared with everyone. We ask, as always, to be patient. Parents like to take pictures on that day, the first day of school, so please, if whatever times that parents are seeing on the website, please be patient, because there typically that first week is a delay. In addition to that, we are starting school this Monday, and as in the past, the first 2 days are early release days. And I also like to mention about the Jamie Hulley Arts Foundation. Their Evening for Arts Gala is on Saturday, September 7th, and it's a tribute to Elton John and Billy Joel. As many of you know, is that the Jamie Hulley funds, actually, we get benefits from that at our schools, so it's nice to give back and contribute in any way we can. And that being said, again, welcome back. I'm excited to welcome all our students back on this Monday.
Any questions for Dr. Scarpetti? Mr. Ziman?
The state cell phone policy, does that affect us at all, or is that just
Not
over our
yet.
heads?
We're going to be having discussions about that, Mr. Ziman. You know, I think particularly at this grade level, do things happen? Yes, they do. Typically, if it happens, we take the phones away from the student, and the parent picks it up that day. But I think especially with regards to the middle school and high school, there may be extra challenges that they may face with cell phones, but we kind of set strong guidelines that we've addressed.
Betty?
Dr. Scarpetti, I think you mentioned the diversity hiring plan, that was still under review. Is that what you said?
Yeah, so what's interesting, when we talked about it at one of the board meetings, we actually collaborated with BOA.
Well, that's what I was going to ask. Isn't this a BOA plan? It's not just specifically Orange?
We've worked together.
Yes.
But it's, since we are separate districts, we have had to hand in separate plans. What's interesting, Mrs. Hadlock, is Bethany, Woodbridge, and Amity have received their plans back.
Oh.
And we have not, as of yet.
Oh.
I know another district just received it last week. Even though the plans, I don't want to say are exactly the same, but very similar.
Right, right.
My understanding is even with Bethany, Woodbridge, and Amity, they did receive different feedback. So it's
All right, so to be continued?
yes.
Okay, that was my question, was I thought it was all done together, but
Yeah.
each group had to submit separately.
Yes.
Thank you.
Anyone else for Dr. Scarpetti? Liz?
I just want to say that the summer camp was a favorite of my daughter and my son the last 2 years. So thank you guys so much for doing that. Is there an opportunity to apply for a similar grant now that the money's run out?
It's interesting you ask that, Mrs. Trimper, because we had a cabinet meeting today, and that's part of the discussion. There's no sign of a grant on the horizon, but if there is, we will definitely submit an application. Who knows if we'll receive it? We're hoping that's the case. The amount of students we received, over 400 students that attended the summer camp, And so it was great to see that. And sadly, of course, when we've done it in years that we've had a service that parents had to pay for, it had less of students that were involved. So nothing as of yet.
Again, it was great, and it was great to see some of like the older kids in town there working, and the school resource, or the school police officer, the security guard there, and all the teachers, and my kids had the greatest time, both of them, so that's saying a lot.
Awesome.
Anyone else for Dr. Scarpetti? Thank you, Doctor. Mr. Gray?
Good evening, everyone. I'll begin with a overview of the grants, as Dr. Scarpetti mentioned. We have several that will be ending this year. We have the ARP ESSER 3 grant, which was one of our original COVID grants. That was a $326,000 grant, and the primary use for that was summer learning for the years 21 and 22. Those funds need to be obligated by September 30th of this year, which they've already been obligated. They need to be liquidated by January of '25, and we will certainly have them spent down by then. The remaining amount there is $96,000. The ARP ESSER Innovative After School Grant, which was funding for innovative after-school programs at our schools the past 2 years, a $479,000 grant. That is ending this year, and that has been spent down. We're at zero in that grant. Summer Enrichment Grant, which is what Dr. Scarpetti and Ms. Tremper were just talking about. This grant funded the 23 and 24 school year summer programming. That was a $299,000 grant. And again, that grant is spent down and will be ended. The following grants are continuing. The ARPA Online Abuse Prevention Grant, which is a $30,000 grant, which is in collaboration with our Orange Police Department. We recently received word, however, that this grant has been suspended. The state program that was funding this is no longer funding it. They're going to be reviewing it again in October, and will be getting back to us to let us know where it will be funded from. So at this point, we're not spending against that grant. We're hoping in October, when they come back to us, we can start spending against it again. The ARPA Right to Read grant, another 2-year grant, 23-24, is a $79,000 grant. To date, we've spent about $17,423 in that grant, so there's about $60,000 remaining on that. That's used for K-3 scientifically based, evidence-based literacy, teaching, and learning. We have the ARPA Summer Mental Health Support Grants, and this is for the delivery of mental health services to students in summer programs. This is a $50,000 grant. This is a 3-year grant. The first 2 years are at 100%, so that's $50,000. The final year is at 70%. We are going into year 2. This grant has been spent for the year. We also have the ARPA School Mental Health Specialist Grant, and that's what Dr. Scarpetti was mentioning before, the social worker. The first 2 years are 100%. That was $92,000. And the final year would be 70% of that salary. And then, as Dr. Scarpetti said, it would be up to the board to decide whether we move forward with that in our budget. We also have the Department of Emergency Management Homeland Security School Security Grant, a $61,000 grant. This is for improvements to our school security infrastructure. This has not been spent down yet because the state requires us to have the project completed before we ask for reimbursement. So we will be doing that soon. We're finishing up the last round of cameras at MLT over the course of the next couple of days, and we should have all of our cameras in place before the start of school. And finally, we have the Connecticut High Dosage Tutoring Grant, which is a $152,000 grant, which is used for enhancing mathematics proficiency through high dosage tutoring for our grade 6 students. We've spent about half of that so far, $81,000. We have $74,000 remaining in that grant. Food services, a portion of American Rescue funds were used by the state last year to provide lunch at zero cost for those students who were eligible or qualified for reduced priced meals during the 23-24 school year. Those funds were referred to as the State Transition Assistance for Breakfast and Lunch, or STABLE funds. I'm pleased to say that they are going to continue to provide reduced students with free lunch for the school year 24-25. So any families that believe they might qualify for free or reduced lunch are always encouraged and reminded to submit an application. They can find the free and reduced lunch applications on our website Orange Elementary School's Food Services tab. All the information is there, and they can contact our office as well for any questions they may have. Due to rising costs of food and supplies, it's necessary for us to increase the lunch price this year, so we will be increasing from $3.15 to $3.40 for the 2024-2025 school year. Students who purchase milk separately by itself, it will remain the same at 60 cents as it has been in the past. The budgeting process, believe it or not, for 25-26 is beginning. We will be starting that process in the very beginning of September with the collection of departmental budgets. So we haven't even started the 24 school year, and we're already talking about 25-26, living in 2 years. Our audit and educational financial systems reporting, which is referred to as the EFS reporting, the auditors have already started their work. They were in last week gathering their data for the audit, which is due December 31st. And we're getting that in a little bit earlier each year, so it'll be well before that December 31st due date, I hope. During the summer months, central office staff has also been working on the education financial system filing with the state. That is due by September 3rd, next Tuesday. We should have that completed and certified and signed off by the superintendent, Dr. Scarpetti, this week and delivered to the state. So we'll be ahead on that. And that concludes the finance portion of my report.
Any questions for Mr. Gray? Susan?
Mr. Gray, thank you for your report.
Sure.
The free and reduced lunch applications, are they done annually?
So if a family is qualified for free lunch, they do not have to do that annually.
Okay,
Families that are not already qualified do.
okay. And
So if someone's circumstances change and they say, I think I may qualify, the worst they're going to do is fill it out. It comes to us, we check it with the guidelines, and it doesn't meet the guidelines, and they don't get it. But if someone has any idea that they feel they may qualify, they should put in for it.
Great, thank you.
Sure.
Anyone else? Thank you, Mr. Gray. You want to move on to your next report?
Sure. I'll begin the operations portion with transportation. As Dr. Scarpetti said, we're finalizing our bus routes, and those will be posted Wednesday to the Board of Education website at oess.org. And that'll be under each school's individual bus information tab. So if my child attends Peck Place School, they would go to Peck Place School. They'd go under bus information, and the route would be posted there. Please be sure, as Dr. Scarpetti said, you need to review your child's bus stop location. There may be modifications from last year due to changes in enrollment or maybe a circumstance at the last moment that ends up changing the route a little bit. Parents should also plan on being at least 10 minutes early to the stop on the first day. Drivers are just getting used to these routes. They will be driving them in the next few days to get used to them. But as I said, some of these routes change a little bit, so parents should get there a little bit early. And as Dr. Scarpetti mentioned, you should expect a bit of a delay because you do have a lot of families who take advantage of the first day of school, especially for photo ops. And then getting home, we take our time getting the kids on the buses at dismissal the first few days, especially with our youngest students, because they're not always sure where they're going. So the buses don't leave on time the first few days. So they will be delayed getting home a little bit. We ask for patience in calling the school right away because there will be delays. The drivers are getting to know the children, they're getting to know the routes, and it does take a few days, so we ask for patience there. Dr. Scarpetti asked that I provide a detailed report outlining the contracted maintenance and improvement projects that took place over the summer during my annual facilities presentation, which will take place next month. So I will spare you those details tonight to get you out of here a little earlier. But I did want to let you all know that our buildings have been completely cleaned. They were finished up last week. We're continuing odds and ends this week. Each school is ready to welcome back staff and students for the new school year. I really want to thank our custodial and maintenance staff for all of their hard work and effort in getting our buildings in tip-top shape and ready for everyone to come back. We will be collaborating with Detective Carolyn Bailey of the Orange Police Department to conduct school walkthroughs to ensure procedures and protocols are finalized and in place prior to the start of school. We will be doing our walkthroughs tomorrow. Our SSOs are our school security officers training. They will be attending their annual armed school security officer training at the Connecticut Police Academy in Meriden. That's taking place on the first day of school, actually. This is mandated by statute and occurs every year in August. Since they will not be in the schools on the first day, I've already spoken with Detective Bailey, and we'll have police presence at all of our schools for the first day, which is a minimum day. And we are in the process of conducting our annual back-to-school building fire inspections with Fire Marshal Jamie Vincent. Once those inspections are complete, he gives us a full report with any deficiencies that we need to correct, and then they come back out for another inspection. We've been really good, knock on wood, the last few years and haven't had any, so we work really hard with that. And then finally, I'd like to thank Chris Small and his crew for their work this summer, keeping up with the lawn maintenance at each of our schools and making sure that the lawns are trimmed and any branches that fall are cleared from the property. They've done a great job, and we're all looking forward to a great school year. Thank you.
Any questions for Mr. Gray? Liz?
A couple questions about the bus route. Are the AM and the PM routes located on the website, or is it just one way?
So it's going to show whether it's an AM route or a PM route or reversed in the PM. It'll say it at the top.
Okay.
And just as you bring up transportation, one thing I should mention is, as Dr. Scarpetti mentioned, the first 2 days are minimum days. Those are 1 o'clock dismissals, so families should be at the bus stops accordingly.
You just answered my second question. Thank you.
Mr. Gray, when you indicate that the school security officers will not be there on the first day and there will be police presence, is it rotating officers from the Orange Police Department? Is it an officer?
So for arrival and
Per
dismissal,
school?
we'll have officers at each school.
Okay,
They'll be there for a while, and then they circulate through the parking lots during the day, and then they'll be back there again for dismissal.
gotcha. Thank you for that clarification.
You're welcome.
Anyone else? Thank you, Mr. Gray.
Thank you.
Dr. Russo?
Good evening. As Dr. Scarpetti shared earlier, we are so excited to welcome our new teachers tomorrow for new teacher orientation, followed by Wednesday morning, our all-staff gathering, which will be short because our teachers are excited to get back to school for transition meetings. And so this is where fourth grade teachers, for example, in their home schools meet with the fifth grade teachers and talk about those transitions that need to happen. We are then going to continue Wednesday with faculty meetings where the teacher evaluation plan will be highlighted in addition to other important information that our principals need to share with staff. Thursday morning, we are so excited because the leadership team engaged in storyboarding conference over the summer. And we really relied on that framework for the social studies curriculum, which we are also very happy about because we've been trying to work on this for some time. And we feel really good about the teams that worked together this summer. And we did share this in the board update, but we thought we'd share with everyone a hard copy just to follow along a little bit and see how it's very clear with titles and images that students and parents can comprehend and see the vertical articulation. Grade 6, we worked with Amity, so it's not included here. We will revisit grade 6, but K through 5 represents all the brand-new social studies standards. We crosswalked learning targets that our teachers identified with what the state shared in the new units. And we have, for example, kindergarten, the essential question that guides the course. What makes the Orange community unique? And as I see Mrs. Tremper's shirt there, that I love orange, I think we need to change this red heart to an orange heart. Grade 1, how do people contribute to the Orange community? Grade 2, how do people in communities work together? Grade 3, how has Connecticut's history shaped its identity? Grade 4, how do people depend on and shape their environment? And grade 5, how did the American Revolution shape the national identity of the U.S.? And interestingly enough, if students in their education don't aren't exposed to the American Revolution, they don't ever get it again in their school career. So that was really important, and we worked with Amity to make sure that that was included there. Then if you flip this packet, you can see that all of the grade levels basically have 3 units except for grade 5. That's the only one with 4 units. And you can see that there really is an orange touch, that it's incorporated into everything. Grade 2 is still in draft form, but we have a lot more to just add into this draft. And that's the other idea that we want to come across, that this is just like the first iteration. We've already submitted this for feedback. We've gotten a lot of great feedback. When you look at your electronic version that was linked to the board update, you'll see that unit lessons are linked there. And that really is now the focus for the grade level sessions throughout the year that are also identified on the professional learning calendar that we've shared. And in those sessions, we're really going to work on the instruction and thinking about, you'll see 2 pieces of information here, that instruction needs to be designed for engagement. Otherwise, we go directly to coverage. And so we want to move away from that coverage, and we want to really think about engaging students, having them examine the resources, and then demonstrate their learning. So we're really going to focus now on storyboarding to lesson planning, so that while 2 to 3 teachers worked on each unit, they still had feedback from colleagues, and now all staff will be involved in those really critical pieces for instruction that's not coverage, and moving from engaging to examining and then to really demonstrating. So we're really excited about that. And then in addition, Thursday morning, in addition to teachers becoming familiar with these resources that will be unveiled and shared by the teachers that put these together, we're also going to look at writing, but the very specific focus on sentence structures and all different types of sentence structures that kids need to be aware of in order to become efficient comprehenders and producers expressively in their oral language and in writing. Teachers worked over the summer to map all those lessons, so we're excited to share those as well. And I think that just about concludes my report for this evening about just some of the initial back-to-school sessions.
Any questions for? Nope, no questions?
Oh, wait, one last thing. We are so excited now also to partner with the Orange Historical Society to really bring a lot of this learning to life, and really getting out into the community and making the learning live. Active.
Go ahead, Mr. Zimmer.
Dr. Russo used the word excited a number of times, and looking at this, it is exciting. And at times like this, I think, maybe I left too soon, but no. But nonetheless, I appreciate all the work that was done.
We need substitutes.
Anyone else? Thank you, Dr. Russo.
Can I just,
Oh, sure, Brenna.
I think you guys did so much work. I'm looking through this social studies curriculum. It looks amazing. So congratulations on that. Will the students be able to have opportunities to visit some of our historical landmarks, or will the Historical Society bring artifacts and things into the classroom? Could you talk more about that partnership, just quickly?
It's going to be a combination of both. So we'll go there, they'll come here and bring some things as well. We're really looking forward to that partnership.
Go ahead, Carm.
At first glance, I thought this was a lot of work, but I also appreciate the clarification that you are able to align all this curriculum with the Connecticut Social Studies framework. I went looking to see if it was somewhere, at least some sort of recognition. If it's not, I think that it should be clear that that's the framework that we are departing from. and
That's
that this
great
curriculum-
feedback. That's great feedback, and we can easily include that here. We're also hoping that the students really take ownership by working with with this type of resource, that they're going to understand and own their learning too, with the images, the titles, because it is kid-friendly, and they're going to be able to understand their own curriculum.
And I think that that's part of teaching, becoming facilitators of your own learning. So I thought the clarification came in time, and I appreciate it because as I was looking at it and comparing it, it's totally aligned to the frameworks.
And also, if you, on your electronic version, when you click on the links, like the lesson links, all the standards are
Will pop up.
listed there.
Okay.
We used to always have them up front and center, but we pushed them to the bottom because everyone can trust that the learning targets have been bundled and unpacked from those standards. But because the standards are so technical and they're just like building codes, they're really not friendly for kids and parents. And we have in the past shared those with parents, and they're like, we don't want to see those. We don't know, what those mean. And so in an effort to really communicate in a clear way, and as Mr. Kraut always says, without like that educational jargon, we're trying to make it with friendlier language.
We'll be happy to resend this so all of you could look at it again. But to Ms. Rodriguez's point, that it's an element of connecting to the state standards, but we'll resend it again tomorrow.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Go ahead, Anthony.
Just out of curiosity, how often is this kind of storyboarding done? Like, is this a 5-year plan going forward, or just out of curiosity?
Well, there's intended curriculum and operational, and you want the operational to inform the intended. So we will, we'll have several iterations, and we're not going to wait every 5 years. Even at our grade level meetings, we're going to be responsive and make changes as we need them. So that, because if you wait for 5 years, it's probably going to be too late. And like, this is our best guess, but stuff happens.
Anyone else? Betty?
Yeah, I just wanted to add, I think, to say that I think in every single curriculum that's been developed over the last, I don't know how many years, there's been a whole storyboarding process that went on with each of them. So this isn't unique just to the social studies. It happens with every curriculum as it was developed. And it's ongoing as they make adjustments or add things or delete things.
Anyone else? Thank you, Dr. Russo. Mrs. Ito?
Good evening, everyone, and welcome back. The extended school year, otherwise known as ESY, went off without a hitch for all students who attended. As a reminder, ESY is a summer service provided for students with an individual education plan whose team determined the need to maintain skills over the summer, so that will continue year after year. I'm sure we're all excited for the start of the new school year, and as you know, Orange runs our own preschool program. This inclusive program is open to typical peers based on a lottery, and we love that our preschool children's first school experience is right here at Mary L. Tracy. To assist with this new adventure, our preschool meet and greet will be held on August 26th during the morning hours. Families received specific information in the mail from the Special Services Department. Preschool children eligible to attend our program will begin on August 27th. It's important to note that although general school day is a minimum day, our preschoolers will be here in their AM and in their PM session as a full day, allowing our preschoolers to experience their first day on August 27th. The special education team, certified staff, paraeducators, registered behavior technicians, and so on, will be working alongside our other district staff on Wednesday and Thursday when we return for professional development and preparation for the start of school. Earlier, Dr. Scarpetti and Mr. Gray mentioned the development of competitive grants that we have been awarded. I would like to just highlight a few. We continue to benefit from the School Mental Health Specialist Grant. As a reminder, this grant provides the district with an additional social worker. The grant supports these services over 3 years. We are headed into year 2 of these funds, which fully fund the cost of the social worker. Next year will be a reduction in funds to 70%. After the 3 years of this grant, the cost of the social worker will become part of our operational budget. In addition, the mental health specialist grant, you may recall that we were rewarded the summer mental health supports grant. This is also a 3-year grant similar to the specialist grant, where funding is reduced in year 3 to 70%. We have been in collaboration with Bridges to provide social emotional learning lessons during the summer and support individual students based on need. We are in the process of revising the proposal and the budget for the grant moving forward. We also continue to benefit from the Primary Mental Health Project Grant, as well as funding that has been provided through Orange Rotary to support social emotional needs of our students during the school year. And that concludes my report.
Any questions for Mrs. Zito? Betty?
Thank you very much. I'm just curious, is the social worker who was funded last year, is it the same social worker returning this year?
Yes.
Okay, that's good to hear. And this is, you reminded me when you said that the preschoolers will have a orientation day. Was there an orientation bus ride for kindergarten this year? Does that happen anymore?
Yes. Yeah, go ahead.
Or did it happen already?
I believe it's happening Monday, this coming month.
The first day of school?
I'm sorry. No, today is Monday.
Yeah,
I believe it's happening Wednesday.
this week.
This Wednesday, I believe, yes.
Yeah, I mean, I knew it used to happen. I assumed it was still happening, so.
Right.
Okay, very good. Thank you.
Tatiana?
I just have a general question, I don't know who can answer it, but the drop-off for kindergarten, is it still like the, I don't want to call it like the drive-through method? Or do parents actually park their car and get out and take their kids?
Nothing has changed with transportation
Thank
of
you.
the model for kindergarten.
Thank you.
Anyone else?
Yes, it's been.
Thank you, Mrs. Zito. All right, so we will move on to board business. We have, I think, 3 first reads? Policy first read, Orange Board of Education Policy 4112.5, 4215.5, Security Check Fingerprinting. Policy first read, Orange Board of Education Policy 4133, 4233, Travel Reimbursement. And policy first read, Orange Board of Education Policy 6112.1, Opening Exercises, Observances, Ceremonies, and Programs. These will all be second reads at the next meeting. As always, if you have any questions, please contact myself, Dr. Scarpetti, or Betty. All right. There is a possibility that there'll be a discussion and possible action on collective bargaining agreement with the, is it AFSCME? AFSCME, Local 1303, Council Number 4, Orange Board of Education Custodians. I will be looking for a motion to enter into executive session after the standing committees and ACES each give their reports. Discussion and possible action on the transportation service agreement. I will be looking for a motion to enter executive session after the standing committees and ACES and each give their reports. We'll move on to, if there are any questions, no? Move on to standing committees, finance and operations, Ms. Riccio.
Finance and Operations met prior to this meeting. We reviewed both the June financials and the July financials. During the June financials, we also went over the end of year, which we're in a very good place. All the financial aspects are in order. We were comparing and contrasting a little bit of the number of students that purchased lunch compared to prior years. And as most people know, our school lunches are great and very popular, so we're happy about that. Mr. Gray also explained the grants during our session as well. That's about it. Questions? Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Riccio. Who do we have next? Personnel Policy Transportation, Mrs. Hadlock.
Thank you. Yes, Dr. Scarpetti and I met earlier this month, just the two of us, knowing that many members of our committee had other summer engagements and were not available, and we did want to have a few first read policies for the board to consider at this meeting. We went over 3 policies that appeared to have minimal revisions needed, and those are the 3 policies that are first reads this evening. We'd like to meet again either as soon before our next board meeting to review some other policies that have a lot more need for discussion and review. So that is what I want to say, and I think before the evening is over, we will decide on that date, whether it's August 26th or September 9th, due to the fact that Labor Day is a Monday coming up soon.
Any questions for Mrs. Hadlock? Thank you, Mrs. Hadlock. Buildings and Grounds, Mr. Cap.
First, I want to say thank you to Mr. Gray and his entire team, the custodians and all the town departments that helped get the schools ready for the first day. We are going to be scheduling our Buildings and Grounds meeting within sometime in the next week or two to do a full walkthrough of all the schools, take a look at them, and how everything is looking pretty nice. Are there any questions anyone want? Okay. Yeah.
Mr. Cap, will the other board members be able to do some of the walkthroughs?
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah. If you want to, you can join us.
Sounds good.
Yeah,
Thanks.
sure.
All right, that was going to be my question. Will you be sending out a notice to the entire board when this review is happening?
Yeah, Dr. Scarpetti, will that go to everyone then? Yeah, I'd love to have everyone. So yeah.
Will there be snacks served?
No, I don't think Ken's gonna want to attend.
Thank you, Mr. Cap. Curriculum, Mr. Ziman.
A new year, same old situation. Now Mrs. Hadlock has taken anything I was going to say. We will be determining the schedule with rock, paper, scissors. We'll get back to you.
Very good. ACES, Ms. Riccio.
ACES doesn't have an official update as we don't meet in July or in August. However, there is a ton going on in all their buildings and construction, so next month, just wait, there's going to be a ton for you.
Any questions for Ms. Riccio? Very well. I am looking for a motion for the Orange Board of Education to enter into an executive session to discuss strategy and possible settlement of a successor collective bargaining agreement with the custodian union in accordance with the Connecticut General Statutes, Section 1-200, 6E, and 1-210B, 9, and 4, a discussion and possible action on the transportation service agreement. The board further invites into the executive session the following individuals: Dr. Scarpetti. Dr. Scarpetti, will you be attending? Yes? All right. So do I have a motion to enter into executive session, inviting Dr. Scarpetti to join us? Susan? Liz? Any discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Abstain?
7:56.
We are now in executive session at what time?
Wait, is that for both of them? Do you want us to discuss them in both?
Pardon me?
We have to go, we don't have to go into two separate ones.
No, because it's in the,
You put this exact one in there? or-
yeah, yeah. So we are now in executive session.
Okay.
All right, so I am looking for a motion to provide funding for and to otherwise accept and approve the tentative agreement for a successor collective bargaining agreement with the custodians union for the period of July 1, 2024 to June 30th, 2027. The board further delegates to the board chair the authority to review and sign the final contract document on behalf of the board, wherein such signature shall bind the board to this contract. This approval is contingent upon the union signing the final contract document no later than August 15th. Do I have a motion to approve this tentative agreement? Doc, it says August 15th. Is that a misprint?
No, but the union, I thought the union has already signed the tentative.
The union has not had an opportunity. We have not received the actual signature. They have to ratify, and so we're waiting for them to do that.
But is the date for them to return it to us August 15th, because that's already passed?
Yeah, so we have to, let's change that,
To-
and, let me just pull up the calendar. To be on the safe side, why don't we do September 6th?
Okay. All right, Susan, so you'll make note of that in the motion? So,
2024.
wherein such signature shall bind the board to this contract, this approval is contingent upon the union signing the final contract document no later than September 6th,
2024.
2024. Do I have a motion to approve this tentative agreement? Susan? Ronette? Any discussion? All in favor?
Okay.
Opposed, abstained? Okay. I'm looking for a motion to accept the transportation service agreement. Do I have a motion to accept the transportation service agreement? Betty? Second? Tatiana? Any further discussion? All in favor? Opposed, abstained? Very well.
Yep.
Yep. Good. All right, I'm looking for a motion to adjourn this evening's meeting. Susan, second, Mr. Ziman. Any discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Abstained? We are adjourned at 8:29. Thank you.
Happy birthday to Tatiana.